great. Welcome to the Hope Shot. I'm Sonia. I'm so glad that you guys could join us tonight. I have my friend Robby on. Thank you so much for joining us, Robby.
No, absolutely. It's a pleasure and an honor. Just seeing, the growth in which you've made in your life and have let me be a part of that. Me and my family. So it's just a blessing.
Absolutely.
Just a blessing.
Well, I'm so glad that you said that because Robby is a really good friend of mine. We actually met when we were in treatment together, and I have got to witness the miracle of recovery happen in his life. So I'm so excited. He's going to share his experience, strength, and hope with you tonight. And without any further ado, go right ahead.
All right. Well, it's 2022. I am getting used to Zoom and technology, etc. So it seems like me just talking to myself, but I know there's an audience. Luckily for everybody, I'm pretty good at talking to myself. So where to start? Typically when telling, a story, and just to forewarn everybody, I've never told my story before. My sponsor, knows more about my story than probably anybody, unless you were there to witness the maelstrom of a life of which I had. So I was born on September 27th of 1986, 3 months early. Came into this world at 3 pounds, 2 ounces. Spent my first, few months in the NICU. And I only know that from, the birth certificate and what I've been told, etc. From, birth until the age of 4, I don't know much. There's really no pictures in this world of in between time between those ages. But then at, the age of 4, just to throw this out there before I get into this tantric, so everyone has a better understanding. I come from a long line of addiction. I don't think there's lineage in my family that doesn't stem from addiction. I don't know of a person in my family that doesn't have addiction in their blood, all the way going back to the hills of the Carolinas in which we're from. So, growing up, that, watch what you do, because, your family, being my family, they do suffer from addiction. To think that was genetic, it was absurd to me, absolutely absurd. But, it's absolutely true. Once something runs in your blood, it's up to, myself to change that blood. So from the age of 4, there was a night in October of 1990 in which my mother and father had gotten into a fight, and my mother left, and my dad passed out drunk on the couch per the usual. And he was 21 at the time, so he was still a child himself. And I came to realize that way later on in life, but that's later on down the road. So one of the days in October of 1990, mom had left, dad was drunk. I went to the kitchen to get a fudge stickle, and on the way back from getting that fudge stickle, there was a lighter on the table. I'm 4 years old and I'm curious. So I grabbed the lighter, and my brother was in my dad's room, and we were messing around, and one thing led to another and lit my shirt on fire. Didn't know what to do, and it happened so quick. Don't know what was on the shirt. It was a cotton shirt. I get the question all the time, like, how did it happen so quick? I don't know. I don't know what transpired. But my brother went and woke my dad out of his, drunken stupor. And, you don't know, you see commercials growing up, stop, drop, and roll. I can assure you, when you're on fire, all the things that you've been taught go out the window. So my dad threw me in the bathtub, at which point my clothes stuck to my body. So I was rushed to the ER via ambulance, and I was given a 10% chance of life because I was burned on 80% of my body. I was induced into a coma. due to the fact being awake probably would have killed me. I'm not quite sure how long that coma was, but I do remember coming to um, and having to learn to walk again, and physical therapy. And, you know, I had to wear a bodysuit, a compression suit from the age of 4 to about 10, 11-ish. And I'm just gonna say we live in a cruel world. And it's no fault to kids that make fun of other kids, because rather it stems from their own, insecurities or their, home surroundings. But kids are mean. So, you know, anybody out there that, there's something wrong with you physically that people have, made fun of you, for, just want to be the first to tell you that being different is one of the biggest blessings I have in my life. Because, not only do you look at me and see a burned victim, you look at me and you see somebody that overcame the odds. And, that transpired through life. So after my accident, learning how to walk, talk, dealing with kids, I had surgeries every 4 months or so from the age of 4 to 18. At 18 was my last surgery. I was going to college then, so I didn't want to get it. They said it would hinder me. The older I got, it hasn't hindered me to the point where I'm not physically able to do anything, but I can definitely tell my range of motion isn't where it's supposed to be. But that insecurity always followed me. Like, I know I'm a good-looking person, but there's certain things, like I won't wear my shirt off at the beach, or just small things that I notice about myself that really drive people crazy, because overall I turned out to be a great person. But it wasn't always that case. Mind you, the great person I speak of has been the last 3 years, because everything in between from 18 to 30, straight shit show. Excuse my French, don't know if I can say that. So at 18, I was at the age of 10, I was taken away from my mother, my biological mother. Long story there, she wasn't mentally or financially able to take care of my brother or myself. So we were taken away and placed under foster care. My dad, after the accident, took off. Never heard from him again. I actually heard from him one time, and then shortly after he passed away, he died of alcoholism. They found him dead in North Carolina in his apartment. So I can only imagine, as a 21-year-old, what happened in my life, how that affected him. And the first thing me as an alcoholic would do is go straight to the bottle. What else do you know? To escape, dealing with, the consequences of your actions. So I don't blame him. It's just, when those situations, it's rather you run towards the fire to put it out, or you just run away from everything and watch it burn. I mean, those are my two options as an addict. And so from 18 to 30, college, my first overdose when I was 14, I overdosed on the bus thinking it's nothing. Then 16 again, and then 18, I had a trust fund and I went to college, and that's when it, all began. I slowly lost college, just stopped going. Then, I rekindled with my biological family, and, it was the norm. And mind you, we are all in recovery. I have three siblings, other siblings, and two out of three of us in recovery. And so the first thing I do when I'm 18, rekindle, is fit into the lifestyle that I knew, and I drank. And it started off, just normal, as it always does. And then once it's socially acceptable in my surroundings to drink earlier without someone saying anything, why would you not? Me as a person, if you're not going to tell me I can't do something, and it's normal in the situation which I'm in, I'm going to do it. So I drank away my college. Then, I moved up to South Carolina because there was nothing left here in Florida for me. And so once moving to South Carolina, I could only live with my mom at that point in time. So I lived with her, and then me and my brother got our own place shortly after, about a year or so after that. And so we got our own place, and we were drinking buddies. My brother, for the first time, he was my best friend. We didn't fight like we did when we were kids. I don't know. As you get older with siblings, like something clicks. Something just clicks. But nonetheless, we were drinking buddies and just working mediocre jobs because it was socially acceptable there. Everybody, as long as you had a job, no one said anything. And I just remember times I had a long career at Waffle House, which, let's just put it this way. Robby, can you come in and work today? Sorry, boss, I've been drinking. What's new? Can you come in? I'm like, well, once that was accepted, guess who's bringing a pint every day to work? This guy. And then when they put you on third shift there, 9 to 7, all you're doing is drunks anyway, all night. So if you're drunk, I might as well be drunk too, right? Because that only makes sense. The only way I can tolerate you drunk is if I'm drunk myself. But then the earlier that I had to drink, was I had to, get up, pop a beer. And at that time, I had started a family there as well, with an only child who, she was sheltered her whole life. But shortly after I had my firstborn, Isabella. And Isabella, to this day, she can do no wrong. Like, she's perfect. And so I functioned for 10 years as an alcoholic. But then without notice, I switched from beer to only liquor. And I don't know why. I think it was because it was quicker, but it happened. So I went from, half a pint a day to a pint a day to a gallon. And then slowly working third shift over there. I quit Waffle House and then went into a factory, and factory jobs there are, ideal, benefits, good pay, etc. Until you walk past your manager and you're talking, and then he gives you the finger to come back and ask you if you've been drinking. Well, if someone asks you if you've been drinking, they're not asking just for fun. They know. So I lost my job there, and then, of course, transitioned back to Waffle House. And I remember working third shift, and the girls that worked there knew they had to buy me alcohol for me to function. And then come 8 hours into shift, my hands would start cramping, and I'd start violent DTs, to the point where I had to wait for my manager to come in 2 hours later to relieve me, or the girls would have to cook their own food. So I did that for 10 years, and then I came here for recovery. Mind you, this time of being an alcoholic, I was also on pills. Because, what's alcohol without some sort of other substance? It only makes sense, and that is where alcohol led me. So, I took pills, ran up a tab with the local pill dealer. Couldn't even tell you how much. I never paid him what I was supposed to. He trusted me to write my number on how much I owed him in the black book, but I would scribble down a fake number and, or scribble down nothing, and then come Sunday, just pay him what I thought I owed him. And so that led me down to here for recovery, but I wasn't done. And so I moved down here. I did a 6-month program, in which the whole time I was doing over-the-counter medicine to get high off of it. It doesn't show up in drug tests. So this whole 6 months, I'm clean from alcohol, but I'm nodding out at meetings. And then so I transitioned off alcohol for 18 months, but the whole time being high, and saved up money. My plan was to go back up north, to be with my girls. I had another girl, Sabrina, which she's my firecracker. She is my firecracker. And it's just crazy to watch, like, children's personalities, especially from a sober point of view. Things you don't notice because, quite frankly, you just weren't present. Like, I was physically present, but never mentally aware with my children. And that, that's probably one of the hardest parts. So their mother lived, my ex-wife rather, lived with her mom at the time taking care of the kids. So I came down, saved up money, went back, instantly relapsed. I was in there for 2 days, instantly relapsed. People, places, things. The places I am rather, huge on huge on my recovery, because where I'm at, there are people. If I don't surround myself with the right people in the right place, I can't do it. And it took me a very long time. So after my first relapse, I had went up there, relapsed, and then I lost custody of my kids up there as well. Their mom, I don't know to this day what exactly happened, because we haven't talked in 3 years. When someone tells me to leave me alone, I do that. And that's what I did. So, a relationship of 10 plus years, marriage down the drain, she lost custody of the kids as well. But the whole time, I am doing the DSS plan. I'm one step away from getting my kids back. Mind you, I'm on pills the whole time, but I'm passing the drug test. I'm, doing the parenting classes. I did a 6-month program, and DSS's eyes, I looked great. But I knew better. So, with 18 months clean, I saved up money once again, went up South Carolina. DSS said, get a place for your kids and take them back. Went up there. 3 days in, I got financial news that I owed $1,200 on a power bill prior. And, next thing you know, the financials in, my math and which I had saved up just weren't there. Nor was I ready. I wasn't done. I just wasn't done. And so I totally went off the deep end there once again and relapsed and came back down to Florida. And I was ripping and running with my sister's boyfriend at the time, and army crawling through her room, through her purse to grab her keys, emptying out my niece's piggy bank. Don't worry, Gene, I'll pay you back. Don't watch this. So, and the insanity, the whole time, high on Klonopin. So that led me to them calling the cops, and the cops were like, we can't make you do anything. Do you want to try to get help? And I went to the Sally, who then said, you have to go to detox. Well, I wasn't ready for detox. So what did I do? I ran to Publix and put a whole bottle of wine down my pants. So I found myself sleeping on the mat there at the Sally, and, the center of hope, in which it is, until 5 a.m. And I don't know if anybody's been on the mats at the Sally, but come 5 a.m., those bright lights go on in the cafeteria, and all you smell is, pee. And you have to get up. Well, okay, I'm up. Where can I go back to sleep? You can't. So I went outside and I saw people laying on the sidewalk, lined up on 10th Street. And so I was like, screw it. So I grabbed a blanket and went to lay down. Mind you, the sun's beating at my face. I don't know what the hell I was thinking trying to sleep. And I look up and there's like this person standing there, but as the sun's coming through her body, I can't see her face. So it's kind of like angelic. And she's like, honey, you don't belong here. To this day, I have no idea who she is. Wow. And so I wasn't done, mind you. Wasn't. And that's gonna come important in just a few minutes. I wasn't done. But I got up and I needed a nap. So I went inside and said, you guys have any programs for me? And still drunk. And they're like, we do. And so I went in to CRP over there, which is a program they have. It's a 4 month? Mm-hmm. 4-month program they have over there. And did the routine so I could A, have somewhere to sleep, and B, eat. And all I was asked to do was get up, go to classes, go to meetings, and clean up a little, which I was totally fine with. But then on the 62nd day of being there, I was outside smoking a cigarette, and I started hearing something. And for the first time, I realized that this whole time I'm in there, I'm not paying attention to what's going on around me. I'm simply in a haze walking around. I heard the birds chirping, and I look up and there's the sun coming through the trees, and these birds are chirping. And so, I said, what else do I have to lose, So I surrounded myself with, like-minded people, and then come commencement day, there was 8 of us that graduated that day. I'm just going to say I am the last of 8 people, still sober, and there's quite a few of us dead. And statistically, I never believe in statistics. I just don't. And it's so hard, but numbers don't lie. And, I saw the small percentage of people that have long-term sobriety. And I'm like, that can't be happening. That can't be true, because I know plenty of people in recovery that have multiple years. But mind you, this is my circle. So of course I'm surrounding myself with the right people. And that's why the percentage doesn't seem real to me. But then if I look outside of my circle and see all the bodies, it speaks for itself. It is dangerous out there. It's especially dangerous out there. And addiction doesn't have a preference. And it takes no mercy. But through all of that, I got out, and then I got a job. I did meet somebody on the inside. I don't advise that you go that route. But when you meet somebody, regardless of where they're at in life, somebody that's like-minded and wants the same thing out of life that you do, sometimes you have to take your chances. I don't do stereotypes. I don't do, don't, 13 step with this one or this one. Look, what are your values in life? If your values match your attitude and your walk, I'm all for it. And that's how my fiance today, Kristen, is. She was the first one in church 2 hours early, because that's where they played music, and that's where we met. She's also coming up on her 3 years coming soon. So I commenced, and then she commenced a few months later. I got a job at a restaurant, and then I slowly transitioned from the job life or the restaurant life to a PEO life, which is human resources per se. And I got people surrounding me. Mind you, I'm a college dropout. They all have their masters, and that's defeating, because I know me. That defeated me right off the rip. Not giving myself a chance defeated me. So I got a junior position with this company. I got a junior position, and they gave me a chance. And me and my fiance both work for this company and have for quite some time now. And we both have yet to get stagnant with our jobs and our lives. And even though, like, my circle of people I check on every single day, at some point in the day, if it's not verbally, it's definitely mentally, how so-and-so. And there's been too many times in which I'm checking on people that just aren't there no more. So then I have to go scavenge to see where did they go. And they're just no longer there. But that being said, I get ecstatic about the people thriving in life, in recovery in general, outside of my circle. And, God's plan for me is not for me to take recovery and grow on life. God's plan for me is to take the recovery that was given to me and give life to somebody else. Because, no one paid for this recovery for me. And like I say, it is free. But for me, and me knowing better, it's not to simply absorb everything I know and keep it in. it's just to really show the next person. It's just to show the next person that, it is possible. And, I skipped in between chapters of, just straight insanity because we all have war stories. But, and like, a key focal point being was, I wasn't done coming in. But I took that first step. I took a chance because I had nothing else to lose. And I've seen it too many times with people that have longevity. They're not done coming in, but they have nothing else to lose. They don't have the energy, and myself especially, to go rip and run anymore. I don't have the energy to go boost from a store and run from the cops. Mm-hmm. Laughing the whole time. It's just the insanity. Done, and I have way too much to live for in life. I have a beautiful daughter, newborn. Well, she's not newborn no more, but she'll always be a newborn in my eyes. She's 18 months. And she, by the grace of God, will never know the side of addiction that both me and her mother went through. As long as we keep doing the next right thing. I'll never say never, but as long as we keep doing what we're doing, you will never have to know. And ideal job, brand new car, they let me drive off the lot with 7 miles on it. Me. So, beautiful family, picture perfect, but it's not, it's not. I don't want to paint this fairy tale of recovery. As long as you put down the alcohol or drugs, things will be grand, because it's a lot of work, mentally. The things that I've acquired in life, that's wonderful, but mentally it's a struggle sometimes. Just because I have the materialistic things doesn't mean that up here doesn't stop going. I miss my girls more than I can ever express, nor would I want to. I've seen them a few times, and slowly working towards a resolve with the situation where both parties can be happy, and in the end, my daughter's well-being is put first and foremost. But it's a process, and it's slowly puzzle pieces putting themselves together, so that I can make hair slow down just a little bit. God has a plan, and it's like people always question. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves in life is people that question, if God loves you so much, then why don't you have this? Why is this not done? Why did he let this happen? But I just have to make it very aware. We were born into this world of evil. It's not God allowing things to happen. It's man allowing sin into this world. And the sooner I grasp that concept of why did that happen to me, or playing the victim, or seeing, the unfortunate things that are happening in this world, that's what sin, brought into this world, and that's the devil at work. Just because, God does glorious things doesn't mean the devil takes a day off either. I'm not going to discredit, him for, because you can look around, you see the devil everywhere. But the thing is, people don't pay enough attention to the things that God has done. The amount of times that I have overdosed. What about the times I don't know about? I can assure you there tens to hundreds of scenarios in my life that I should be dead that I'm not even aware of. But I pay attention sometimes too much to the evil going on in this world, because it's hard not to. It's everywhere. It's relevant. It's blasted on all the news stations. No one reads about the kid, saving the cat from the tree anymore. They rather hear about somebody that, just shot up a grocery store, killed somebody, and it's all mainstream. And I think that focusing away from mainstream, media, and focusing towards, the word, it puts you at peace. Even 10 minutes a day, I really challenge at least one person that watches this, just take 10 minutes tonight to read the Bible and see what it does to your mind. It's insane. It's insane the peace and quality you get. And it's not, all of the endorphins running through your brain, that it's the connection you'll have with God. Because with all the bad things that have happened in my life, if I played one card different, that wouldn't be God's will, and I would not be where I am today. So that's my story. And it's, I'm still a work in progress like everyone else in this world. However, I know that I can do anything as long as I keep A, doing the right thing, and B, keeping, a relationship with God in my life.
Amen. Thank you so much, Robby. I really, really enjoyed your story. Like, your life is literally a miracle and you are such an overcomer. So I am so grateful that you came and told your story tonight. So let me just ask you, for somebody who's new in recovery, what advice could you give to them right now?
Give yourself a chance. It could be your first time in recovery, it could be your 10th, 20th, you could be 18, you could be 81. You never know what the next time of you trying is going to do. Not too many people get it on the first try. That doesn't mean you give up. I had showed Sonia something earlier. You don't have to worry about the whole staircase. You really just have to take that first step. And then each step after that. And it could be slow steps, baby steps, or if you want to take monster steps, do it. Whatever gets you to the top.
Thank you so much, Robby.